Are you serious? Are you serious? Guys, you might as well get a cup of coffee and calm down. But yes, there is a situation developing. We knew it was coming, but there's a worldwide financial chaos. And I'm not going to say meltdown because that's not the right word. It's chaos, and a lot of it was caused by some really bad governmental decisions, high taxation, what have you. But don't fear. Don't you dare fear. America is here. Matter of fact, we're the nation that's remaining calm in the midst of this storm. For instance, the Brexit mess has got the British, everybody still twisted in the wind on what that's going to mean. And look at France. The Yellow Vest protest has gone on for 21 straight weekends. Why? Because France, the highest tax nation in the world, and they're frustrated with the taxation, migration, frustration, no assimilation. Are you serious? What a manifestation that is. And while that's going on, folks, we're finding out South Africa is in a meltdown. We know that Venezuela is absolutely collapsing. They're sitting in the dark with no water and no power and no hope. And Maduro, and what about Juan Guaido, and the Russians are showing up now. What does this all mean? And while that's going on, folks, now you have situations developing, also the chaos that we've been witnessing in the financial markets. Italy has been broke, busted, and disgusted. Now there's issues big time starting to affect South Korea and Japan in their manufacturing markets. And then what about China? They seem to be way overrated, and now it's coming home. I think the Trump tariffs may have affected it. We don't know. Canada, what are you doing with this huge carbon tax? That's not going to help things. And Australia and Germany is suffering, and it's affected, with China taking a dip. There's a lot going on, guys. I just tell you what, it's way over my head. It's way over my head. What do we do? Let's bring in the expert, Bob Kudla. Bob Kudla from TradeGeniusAcademy.com. Bob, help us out. Welcome to the broadcast.
Hey, thanks, Paul. And in conclusion, what a great monologue. It's we are the one-eyed king in the land of the blind here, and this has all been predictable. There's a guy named Exeter who created what's called the hierarchy of risk, and as we basically are hitting the wall here in terms of their ability to just keep floating debt. And, don't get me started on AOC and MMT.
Come on. I want to hear about it. Tell us about AOC.
Oh, I know. These countries are, hey, I can rhyme too, Paul.
Okay.
These countries have taken their economies to the wall with this fiat and with this debt and with just printing. And so we're at a point now where it's fear is gripping the markets, and because the United States is the reserve currency, number one. Number two, we have the strongest military in the world, bar none. We have extremely defensible borders. We export energy. We can export food, and we have really, put the politics aside, we have a very diverse and very stable and very square country where we can even if parts of our country get hit with climate issues or weather-related disasters, the country overall is strong. And so what that does is it's going to start sucking assets from around the world into the U.S. So that's part of what you're seeing, some of that frustration with Trump and with Powell, is that they don't want our dollar so strong that it's killing our multinationals that would then kill up the stock market. But they don't have a choice. Money's flowing into this country, and then Trump is feeding it by basically cutting China off at its knees, with the tariffs and with we need to level the playing field on manufacturing, and he's going after Mexico the same way for the same reasons. And so what that means for America is that we're going to be just watching from the mezzanine here as I think Europe's in deep weeds, Paul. They have nothing that really binds them together other than an extremely corrupt ruling class. And I think you're going to see them spin out of control. You and I talked about that before. I think they're definitely iron and clay. And then in Asia, China China is one pinprick away from basically exporting deflation across the United States and the rest of the world because they're just producing too much stuff that nobody's able to or willing to buy from them anymore. And you see it in Germany, and you see it in South Korea, Japan, and in Australia. Never believe what the Chinese ever tell you. They lie about everything. You just watch the people who feed them. And Australia's raw resources. South Korea, Japan, and Germany are their machine tools and their high-end equipment. And they're all going into recessions. So the entire world is going into recession. Germany is now, they basically said negative growth. And so I told people this a long time ago. Everybody said the United States is going to go into a Great Depression because of this, that, and the other thing. And what people don't understand is that when you're the world's biggest debtor, which we are, and you're the world's biggest trade deficit country, which we are, you can't be harmed by these things. This is what happened to Great Britain during the Great Depression. They came out of the Great Depression in fairly good order because they were the United States of that time. And so money comes home, and Britain had their kingdom, which they could trade within their own bloc. And that's what's happening in the United States. Countries like China and Germany and Japan are really, really, really going to suffer as we start rolling into a worldwide recession. So, for us, good news for probably next year or two for the rest of the world. And if you're listening from other places, you need to start protecting your assets because you're going to be in for a pretty rough ride.
So, Bob, you just brought up a great point. And we've had these guys, and I know a lot of the Bible prophecy guys, and a lot of times they get confused. And it's innocent, but they get confused because they hear there's a worldwide recession coming, and they immediately assume that it means America. But if you study economics, which you do, and have been and watching the markets and watching the price of gold and silver and cryptocurrencies and other world currencies, because America is so resourceful, because we've decided to take the gloves off the EPA regulations and all the bureaucracy, we're now the number one producer of oil in the world. Texas is number 3 in the world. We're mining mining oil as fast as we can. We're digging coal out of the mountains again, and we're planting. We got the greatest farms in the world. So the whole world could fall into a recession, which it looks like it will, but we don't go there. America ends up being the one standing tall. If anything, our economy may boom. Today the market's up again. Is it possible that there will be no American recession, just simply a constant America aggression and growth?
Yeah, look, if we put the crazies in the White House next election, then all bets are off. But if we stay on the same path we are, look, Australia did not see the Great Recession in 2007, 2008. They've gone 21 years without a recession, Paul.
Wow.
So it all depends on what economic situations in front of you. And for us, if we go into recession, we're the last ones to go in.
But is it because
and I'm not being myopic, and I'm not being pro-America.
Hey, Bob,
it's just simple math.
Is it because Australia is a very resourceful country? They don't need to have to bring a lot of stuff in. Oil they do, but isn't it because they're basically pretty self-sufficient? And we got to be we're the most self-sufficient nation in the world. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. Australia had what China needed, and China just kept buying from them. And then look, Australia is a very underpopulated country, and so they essentially can feed themselves if they need to. And I think they even have, in fact, they do have oil resources, Paul. So up in Western Australia, they're producing oil and gas out there as well. So yeah, Australia's good shape. Now, if China shuts down, Australia is in trouble because they won't need their natural resources, and they don't have a big enough consumer market. Where the United States is that we've been consumer oriented, and we could just trade within ourselves. And so you can control a lot of things when you can just trade inside yourself. And I think, Paul, we're not being told a lot of things. So part of this trade collapse could be by design. And we're getting a lot of kabuki theater here about, Trump this and Trump that. They all might be in cahoots here saying, hey, we have to preserve the ability for the United States to be able to have a currency that's going to be meaningful. And so we got to start cutting down this deficit, cutting down, the trade. And, we're only at 14% of GDP now anyway. So we can go even further down. And then basically it's Mox Nix to us. And if somebody doesn't want to accept our dollars, we're like, okay, somebody else will. And somebody else will trade with us. And, if you put Canada and Mexico into the same pot, there's pretty much nothing that we need outside of that block other than some strategic metals that are could be found in South America, Africa, Central Africa, and of course in Russia as well.
What is your take on Venezuela right now? I mean, I thought it looked like Trump was going to go in there, get rid of Maduro, or maybe come up with some way. But now that Russia has showed up, are we washing our hands of this Venezuela thing?
No, I mean, look, it doesn't benefit us really one way or the other than, I think you and I talked about this before. I mean, Trump could just sit out there and it's a commercial for why you don't want a Democrat in office, so he may let that thing run for another year. And the other thing too, if you want to start tying Russia and China down and start them using their resources and their military and their economic, handouts, hey, God love them, let them get tied down with that. Because at the end of the day, the United States, Colombia, and Brazil calls the shots there. And we can just turn the screws on anytime we want. There's not anything Russia or China really can do about it because they're just not there. They can't really influence it. So we'll just let the people get more and more irritated. And so Trump won't be the bad guy. Let the chips fall where they are. And I think he probably got counseled that way. And that's how I view it. Look, we got some really strong leadership now in Southern America. With the new president of Bolsonaro from Brazil, and then in Colombia, and so people are seeing that there are alternatives to this leftist mess that they keep making down there. So I don't think Venezuela is not even really on our map.
You bring up this leftist thing, and there's no question. I mean, I don't understand the socialist mentality. It doesn't work. It never has worked. And it gets worse. And I don't know what's going on. You got Beto, you got, AOC, you got Bernie. The only guy, it's amazing to me on the Democrat side, the only guy that actually had any kind of thought about maybe how to be in the middle was Biden, and he's leading in their polls, and it looks like they're gonna crucify him themselves. It's unbelievable. They're gonna throw him in the street. I don't know where Elizabeth Warren went, but she's so far left that she thinks she's leaning right. I mean, it's incredible to me. And can't anybody see what socialism's done to Venezuela and what it does? Look at France. How would you like to? And what is Canada doing now? Throwing a carbon tax in there now? Are you serious?
Hey, Paul, I'm surprised that you're surprised. You're a pastor. So what pastors fill the churches? Ones that tickle the ears, right?
Well, yeah.
And so that's what socialism is. Everything's free. Somebody else will pay for it until you get into the room and the doors are locked. And then you find out that nobody's going to do anything to invest. And next thing you know, you have what's called the tragedy of the commons, where everybody expects somebody else to take care of it, and then it just falls apart. And so that's all this is that, and I tell my family this all the time, because we live in California, and there's a lot of frustration. I said, look, things don't matter to people till they matter to people. And that's what socialism is. You can't tell somebody that socialism is bad if they've never seen anything bad personally from it. And the only problem we have, it's like dying to find out whether you're saved, right? It's like the same thing with socialism. You got to start living the nightmare before you realize you didn't want to live the nightmare, Right. And so, that's the problem. So these young kids have no clue, Paul. They don't pay for anything now anyway. And they're being told you don't have to pay for anything in the future because somebody else owes it to you. I'd sign up for that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, if that, if that was reality, but obviously it is not. Folks, this is Bob Kudla with us with TradeGeniusAcademy.com. Bob Kudla with TradeGeniusAcademy.com. Matter of fact, there's never been a better time in history to trade maybe with cryptos or stocks or binary options, precious metals even. And Bob has been able to put together a winning formula that has been so incredible. I mean, he's got a new Easter special out right now that if you use the promo code Easter, you can save 40% on non-bundled programs. Okay, so in other words, individual programs, 40% off through if you use the promo code Easter. And he also, if you've never traded before and you want to take advantage of these types of profits every day in the market, he urges you to sign up for one of the many Trade Genius online educational courses. Perfect for yourself or loved ones. Take control of your financial future. Discover the lucrative world of trading and receive personal coaching with Bob at TradeGeniusAcademy.com. I mean, I think about it a lot of times, Bob. You've really been on top, and you told us this worldwide chaos or world financial recession, a global reset was coming. But you also told us that America, with the new Trump policies and tax policies that we got in, really that we would still be standing, and it seems to be working.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing really well. I mean, just humility aside, I sent you over some of our proof documents, and when everybody said the cryptocurrency revolution was dead, we're like, hey, hold on to your seats. And look at Litecoin now since December is up almost over 300%, Paul. We caught that trade for our subscribers. Bitcoin has nearly doubled from its lows, and Bitcoin is now going to start the run that Litecoin just had. And what's happening is they're creating this what's called additional scarcity, and the technical term is called halving, whereas the miners that are mining the new coins, they get less coins for their effort now going into next year. And then after 2022, they can't get any more coins at all. And so all of a sudden, you're starting to see interest pick up from people that want to have basically a non-banking asset. Look, there's only two non-banking assets out there, Paul. It's cryptocurrencies and it's gold and silver. And so you're starting to see that migration into those assets. And we've been trading them, and we're just having a spectacular time of it. And it's nothing, there's no black magic to any of this stuff. We have a really, really sound formula. We see the buying pressure coming in. We catch that trade. And when that pressure abates, we hop off and take another trade. I mean, today we're in 3 trades that all of them are up almost 4% today. And they're gold and silver miners. And that's what we're going to see more and more of it. I just encourage people to check out what we're doing if you like to trade. What we charge for our services pales in comparison to what you can make, and we're very consistent. And so I sent those over to you, Paul, because our integrity is paramount to us. And so every trade we put out there is recorded, and we manage and keep accountability, and it's just been working really well, and we don't see it changing in the near future. In fact, we start seeing the cryptos will start accelerating again, and I think people are going to be shocked. Look, Litecoin went up almost 300% from December. The stock market hasn't gone up 300% in 15 years. And people made that kind of money in 4 to 6 months. That's what cryptocurrencies have the potential doing. Look, you don't put your whole portfolio in it, but if you put 5 or 10% there, you put 10 or 15% into gold and silver miners. You put a little bit more into commodities for Trump's upcoming infrastructure play. And then you start backing out of the general market because the multinationals are going to start to struggle a little bit from a stock standpoint, not from an economy standpoint. And you got a winning formula, and we'll help you get there, and we'll help you make money. So thanks for letting me share that.
Yeah, and that's great insight. Let me ask you a question, because there's something I've been noticing. Okay, it made such perfect sense what you just said about the precious metals and the cryptos. And I just noticed that the cryptocurrency, the Bitcoin, was running around $3,300 per coin, and now it's at $4,800. And just in the last 2 weeks, it just shot up again. I have a real strong feeling that silver is not going to stay at $15 an ounce. I mean, that thing's going to take off. Everybody keeps talking about silver eventually going to $50, if not even $100 an ounce at some point here. Gold will also take another run. But you just said something. When the rest of the global market, the other nations start and the struggle has begun, it's going to affect our stock market because we've got a lot of global players in it. But that doesn't mean our economy's hurting. It's probably the direct opposite. Seems like when Wall Street struggles, especially if it's from global problems, our economy is strong. Main Street's stronger. And do you see that going forward?
Yeah, we talked about that, I think, over a year ago. That's part of that reset that we talked about, is money's going to move from Wall Street back to Main Street. And you're going to see it because, look, there's already pressure on these companies, some of the financial games that they're playing again. They've already started capping the speculation in real estate, and so they're going to force money to be more productive again. And that means companies are going to be less profitable, but people are going to be more employed. I don't think people realize this, but people's wages are accelerating at a rate they haven't accelerated in 25 to 30 years, Paul. And you hear Wall Street crying about that. I'm like, no, that's good.
Yeah.
Because people spend that money. And so that's the shift. I totally agree with you. And that's why you're starting to see people, especially younger people. Us older dogs. We had to kind of kick around this crypto thing a little bit till we understand it. And now that we understand, hey, this is a way to hop off the bank train. Is the young people are not even getting on the bank train. They're going direct to this. Why do I need a bank? Why should I pay their toll when I can start doing direct transactions with people? And that is one of the beauties of what's happening in the cryptocurrency world, is that you're creating this economic system that's not bank dependent. They're going to try to get their claws in there, but they're going to have a hard time doing it. And the miners are a way to protect yourself from the monetary madness that's infecting the world. And look, when you talk about silver, I think the market, I just read this morning, I just shared it with my subscribers. I didn't even know it was this low. They said the market cap of silver is only $15 billion. That's how suppressed they have it. It's an 87 to 1 against gold. That's almost twice as generous as it should be. It should be half that, Paul. When you look at how much silver's in the world versus gold in the world. So when gold doubles, silver's going to go up 5x. And so you're talking about 50 again. I think we're going to see gold over 2,500, and we'll probably see silver approaching $100. In probably the next 12 to 18 months, and it's going to just explode. And this isn't just Bob Kudla thinking about this stuff. We're seeing it already. The palladium market in London is having a silver moment right now. And what happened is that these guys, they're fraudulent. They sell things they don't own, Paul, hoping they can buy it back cheaper later. And so what happened was they ran out of palladium. Well, the people who sold got knocks on their door saying, hey, you got to buy this. You got to come up with physical palladium. Well, they couldn't get it. Next thing you know, palladium doubles in price. Okay? And so that's what's going to happen in silver. They're selling and selling and selling it, and then all of a sudden, people are going to say, I want the silver instead. And they won't have it, and they're going to have to scramble for it. And the only way you can get it is if you raise the price enough to let somebody else sell it to you. And that's coming. And look at JP Morgan. I think we probably talked about this before. They are the largest single entity ownership of silver in the world. So at any time that Jamie Dimon wants to start flipping the game a little bit, he could become a buyer, and he already owns. And he's going to demand high prices to part with his silver. So, I think it's absolutely coming. We're there. I mean, the trades today that we put on were 3 silver miners, and they just exploded. And they tried to suppress it again, Paul, like they always do, and it blew up in their face again. So that's what's going to happen. And you're going to see these miners go up 4 to 8 times. When silver starts going up 4 to 5 times, it's going to be a glorious thing for those who are smart enough to start getting engaged in it now. And it's not too late, even though it started to move already.
Now, what happens with the rest of the world currencies, Bob? And again, this is Bob Kudla. Bob Kudla's with us with TradeGeniusAcademy.com. He is this guy's an expert, and there's no doubt about it. And his track record proves it. Pick up the phone and call the number, 1-800-949-1408. That's 1-800-949-1408. Pick up the phone, call Bob. Say, hey, I want to enroll. I want to get it into the program. I want to understand. Maybe you're a first timer. You've never been in the stock market. You've never bought any precious metals or anything. You want to start slow. Fine. Give Bob a call. Get his programs, okay, and get some training and let him guide you along the way. His record proves it. There's a lot of winners. He's good at picking winners. And part of the reason he's a global player, what I mean by that is he stands way back and not myopically as much as macro. He really is looking at this from a big picture. And Bob, let's ask a question about that, because what in the world are the people going to do with the euro? I mean, is the Brexit, is it really a Brexit or an exit, or what is going on in this? And do you see it panning out okay for the British?
Oh my gosh! I mean, the politicians are simply telling the British people that your vote doesn't matter, and so I just don't know. My head hurts, and watching them vote, they keep voting to keep from making a decision, and so I think eventually they will break. And if they don't do it now, Paul, if they're able to kind of worm their way through this, when Europe implodes and the Europeans start looking to the British to start ponying up, you know, the British people will clear that whole clown show right out of there and Brexit faster than you can blink an eye. You know, because right now, you know, Britain does not get benefit like the Europeans do out of Britain. The people who benefit are the people sitting in that parliament because they all have their hand out, you know. But once that goes away, you know, then you'll see them leave in a heartbeat. In America, we stand ready to do a bilateral with Britain in a minute. They have some really cool technology, and you know, 80 million consumers, and so it'd be a good market for us. But I don't know. You know, she made a deal with the socialists to try to. It's almost like a poison pill. They're trying to create a poison pill now to keep from exiting, or if they do exit, they add all these costs to it. Germany is freaked out, Paul, because Germany exports so much more to England than England does to Germany. And that's why I laugh when people said, oh, the Europeans have the British over a barrel. I'm like, have you talked to Merkel? You know, Britain single-handedly could put Germany into a depression if this thing breaks hard the wrong way.
Yeah, if Britain breaks away and turns to the United States and buys everything from us, Germany, Merkel, they just collapse. I mean, they would just collapse. You're exactly right. I actually am starting to think that Angela Merkel's whole purpose there, not Angela Merkel, excuse me, Theresa May's entire purpose was to never Brexit. She was tied in, that the collusion has been going on with her and these EU leaders, and she's been 3 years stalling. Now, they're going to get rid of her because she never did it. But does that mean the next guy's going to get it done either? I mean, they're saying that April 12th is a hard Brexit. What does that mean? I think as long as there's no document that proves that you've exited, then you haven't exited. And they're already just signed up to be part of this European Union army, this what they call the EU Intervention Initiative. And oh, by the way, Bob, what about the avocado apocalypse that's going on? With the Trump, can you help me understand? If he shuts down the Mexican border, is he going to shut down the Mexican border?
He already pushed it off, Paul.
Okay.
So, yeah, your Cinco de Mayo is safe.
Okay, no problems for Cinco de Mayo, no holy guacamole. We're going to be okay?
Yeah, he better not do it before the Super Bowl, or he may lose the election. Okay. So he better wait till March. But yeah, he pushed it off. I guess he had some meetings with the Mexican government, and he's given them some time. But you know, personally, I don't care because I live in avocado country, and so I could just walk down the street and I could what you guys pay $5 for, I can get a bag full.
Okay, so you're okay. I love your shirt today, by the way, Bob. I mean, you're living the dream out there in California. You're living the dream.
Yeah, well, you know what? I pay a lot of taxes to have that dream.
Oh, okay. I'll stay in Indiana then. Those taxes scare me. Folks, listen. Bob Kudla here, TradeGeniusAcademy.com. Easter. Use the promo code Easter. Go to his website at www.TradeGeniusAcademy.com. The promo code is Easter. Save 40%. I mean, that's crazy. 40% on all non-bundled items that he has. And Bob, tell them what it is they can get if they get one of your programs to get started here.
Yeah, so what we did was we put together six bundles, and what we do at Trade Genius, we educate and we inform and we provide trading signals as well. So you can get a beginner package, you can get an advanced package, you can get just in the stock trading room or the crypto trading room, or you can get a bundle for both trading rooms. And what you do is you get trade signals from us, and you also get access to the chat rooms that are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And then those some of the bundles have coaching associated with it, where we'll do private coaching. Like I do a lot of private one-on-one coaching for people that are learning to trade or want to trade something new. And then we also have the the education packages that you referred to in your opening monologue. So that's what we do at Trade Genius. And look, we're lunch pail guys. This is no Lambo stuff. This is tried and true, programs that we created that finds these stock trades and these crypto trades, and then allow us to profit and to make people money, and then also to educate people. We want to teach people how to fish as much as we want to give them fish, Paul. So we kind of do both, and it works out really well for us. And what we charge for the service pales in comparison to the money that you made. I mean, if you just followed our Litecoin trade, people probably paid for 3 or 4 years of our service just with that one trade alone. So that's what we do.
Bob, we really appreciate it. You're a good friend and been a great friend of our ministry, and we just really appreciate it. Christian company, Bob's a great guy, and he really, really cares. Family man, cares about his customers, cares about helping you to understand the ever-changing world we're in, and we are in that. But we've got the Lord on our side, Bob, and so that gives us a lot of wisdom. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, we win and we win. So, you can't worry about it.
No.
Let tomorrow take care of itself. But you know what? We always tell people you got to be a good steward, be prudent, and just watch the watch the signs, and economic and prophetic, and that's all you can do.
Amen to that. Praise God. Amen. All right, Bob, thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you on the broadcast today, and we'll catch you next time. All right.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks a lot for having me.
All right, folks. Again, Bob Kudla from TradeGeniusAcademy.com. Use that promo code Easter and save 40% on all non-bundled items. And really, check out his website, and may God bless all of you. I'll see you next time right here on the Coming Apocalypse.